WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
The longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow. You know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore. Shut up! There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside Mitch.
Yeah, it's me. Again.
With a better attendance track record over the course of the last few months than Twitch, that's for sure. Unless this is him calling in now, as that would be hysterical. Because I do see the line lighting up here. So there's a pretty good likelihood of who it could be. And, oh, well, to completely shatter the fourth wall here, I just get a text saying I'm really sorry. So we'll see what exactly he's sorry for. Is it for all the things wrong in China, like the John Denver song from 75? No, okay.
You may not know.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think Ted is, the proverbial billionaire Ted here of WBCB, Ted Efaw. He's more than likely going to make his way over in a little bit here and let us know what's going on with that. But in the meanwhile, we have wrestling stuff to chat about and get into here.
Let's get right into it.
We most certainly, well, just as we're getting into that. Alrighty. Yeah, let's go ahead and get things rolling here. So, just making sure we got this right here. Says that Dion on line 32?
Yeah, Dion.
Hey, Dion, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? I just gotta say a heartfelt R.I.P. to Mean Gene. At work, all I do is smoke cigarettes and lounge in my sweatpants and watch old Mean Gene clips, and he was just the best, like I says.
Yeah, no, Mean Gene certainly was great. We had a great tribute last week of that was just a small smattering of some of the different highlights of his interviewing career. He's certainly legendary, and the heartfelt outpouring that has occurred from the wrestling world over the course of the last week and change is just a pure testament to that.
I agree. Thanks for your time, like I says.
Oh, no problem, Dion. Thanks so much for chiming in here to Pro Wrestling Weekly. And I guess we'll get into this here as the tributes kept on pouring in, including the Hulkster brother making his way back to WWE television for the first time since that whole controversy that we probably are better off not rehashing for the billionth time.
Yeah, it's for the better.
It's for the even Mitch knows about the controversy. That's
even
how
I do. I got some context, which is nice. I barely get context. Sometimes.
I work on giving you context here.
You do, but unfortunately for me,
there's a lot that's being thrown at you that you're, unless I'm there to be like, okay, almost like the little paperclip on the old Microsoft Word things. Here's how I can help.
I actually get that.
Yeah, thank you, Family Guy, because I don't think anybody else under the age of 20 would get that otherwise.
Family Guy?
Yeah, Family Guy did a spoof of it, too.
Family Guy did a spoof of it?
I'm pretty sure they did.
All right.
Or maybe The Simpsons did it, because it seems like The Simpsons did everything.
True.
Isn't that a meme? Simpsons did it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, well, so the Hulkster was on Monday Night Raw, and after a 10-bell salute for Mean Gene, he made his glorious entrance wearing the early 80s style T-shirt with the print on it, and it had Mean Gene-O-Mania on it, as opposed to the original Hulkamania that goes back to when both of them were together in the AWA, the American Wrestling Alliance, based out of Minnesota. before they went to the big time in the WW then F. We'll get more to. I'll tell you during the break about that whole context if you don't know already about the WWF WWE thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing that has gone. Yikes! This May it'll be 17 years since that whole thing happened.
Jeez.
Yeah, we did a special a couple of I think it was on the anniversary on the day we did a whole Get the F Out special, which is what their slogan was when they changed over from WWF to WWE.
I see.
Yeah. It was a fun, cute little nod to say the least. But that notwithstanding, let's take a look-see here at what Hulk Hogan had to say this past Monday on Raw.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You know something, guys? I came out here wide open tonight in character because that's exactly the way Mean Gene would have wanted it. I want to let all you guys know, Mean Gene loved entertaining, and he loved entertaining everybody here in the WWE universe. Mean Gene loved entertaining more than anything that he did. You know, guys, I got to tell you, being out here in the ring without Mean Gene, it's not, you know, he's not here, but he is right here. He's right here, man. I love you, Mean Gene. I miss you. Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. I know exactly what you're doing, brother. You're up there, and all the angels are singing Tutti Frutti on top of those big white clouds. I know that you're putting the greatest tag match together, brother. The tag match between the Macho Man, ooh yeah, Randy Savage, and the Ultimate Warrior versus Roddy Piper and Mr. Perfect. And I also know that Andre the Giant is a special referee, brother. And I also know you're probably breaking up a fight between your close personal friends, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. And you know something, Mean Gene? I heard those weights clanging and banging up there at the pearly gates. And brother, you don't have to get so swole up. You've only got a choice between Moolah and Mae Young, brother.
Oof.
So Mean Gene, I guess there's just one question left to ask all the maniacs up there, brother. What you gonna do when Mean Gene Omania runs wild on you, brother?
Fitting tribute by a man who knew Mean Gene better than anyone else. No doubt Hulk Hogan is heartbroken like so many others. We all miss Mean Gene.
Certainly right about that. And as we were going through that, I had to look over and I almost cringed as I was like, all right, how am I going to explain the whole Moolah and Mae Young thing to Mitch here?
Yep, the context.
Exactly. Well, they were both women's wrestlers who, when they were a bit more advanced in age, WWE decided to use them for comedic fodder. There's actually something rather comedically noted from WrestleMania 17 or X7 from 2001, where Mean Gene Okerlund and longtime manager and broadcaster Bobby the Brain Heenan, they were in a backstage segment where they were behind closed doors with the then, I believe, both septuagenarian Moolah and Mae Young. Yeah, it's about as cringeworthy as it sounds. And
I
that's
can visualize it now, and the cringe is already seen.
No, don't visualize it.
Yeah, it was a...
You don't want to visualize that.
I think that would be a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those where it was good for a chuckle for the WrestleMania audience, and occasionally there is a bit of that. That was the unofficial end of what they'd known as the Attitude Era. I was going to say, do I need to, yeah, I guess I can talk a little bit about different eras in wrestling. I know I'm rehashing a lot of things but then again, we get new viewers all the time and new listeners, and yeah, I was going to say, don't really get viewers so much on radio, but
true.
You get the idea. We get new listeners and new folks kind of streaming through, and it's every once in a while good to kind of bring a bit of context into things here.
Yeah,
so,
give context to me and the people.
Yeah, to those unfamiliar who may be like, what is this wrestling stuff that I've heard about? And, a little bit more of the history to it for those not exactly around who may not have lived some of these things. So there, for all intents and purposes, have been a few different eras over the course of the last 35 to 40 years, I'd say, when WrestleMania became a mainstream television entity. I mean, it was a huge television entity long before that regionally, and different areas of the country got to see different featured wrestlers and things of that nature. But when it comes to the national and now global phenomenon that it has become, it's really looked back from the early 80s until now with a few different eras, most notably with WWE. First off, there's the Hulkamania era, which ran from 1984 till about 1993, and that pretty much runs with Hulk Hogan's initial run in the World Wrestling Federation. Then he jumped ship to WCW, and that pretty much did the end of that. After that, in 93-ish to 94, the different people, different folks have different debates on when it officially started, but there was the New Generation era.
Oh.
And that is an era where I first became a fan. It wasn't regarded for the greatest of wrestling, and it was known for being very cartoony, but what they were going for was, hey, we're no longer hanging on to the old wrestlers from 10 years ago who we still had carted out, even 2 years earlier. Gone are the Hulk Hogan's, Macho Man Randy Savages, and the like, that were these staples of the 80s, and now we're here in the mid-90s. That was kind of their whole push behind that. So they were getting behind younger, and by that I mean, I say that in air quotes because they were, in many cases, younger by, 5 to 12 years, I'd say.
So basically it's out with the old and with the
it was a lot of
somewhat new.
Somewhat new, exactly.
Yeah, the somewhat.
And those are your names like Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker.
All
that was back when The Undertaker was new. Fairly new. He made his World Wrestling Federation debut in 1990.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Nice
when
to
he
know
was
that.
25 at the time. And he's still wrestling now at age 53. Let that sink in.
Yeah, it's sinking.
It's sinking. Absolutely. Almost like this segment. No. No. After that, probably around 90. Again, there's a bit of an argument as to when it officially started, but either mid to late 96 or early 97 began the Attitude Era. And that was what was heralded by Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Degeneration X, which was comprised of Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And that was getting toward less kid-friendly entertainment. That was what it was most known for. And there have been there's been a lot of heralding toward it, but there have also been a lot of criticism toward it. As those who prefer family-friendly programming, they pointed to certain characters around that time frame, such as the wrestling adult entertainment star and the wrestling pimp, for example, and the character of The Godfather.
Oh.
Just to name a few. So that there was a little bit of that. And then the pendulum kind of swung back a little bit the other way, and they wanted to get away from that Attitude Era, mainly because Stone Cold Steve Austin, his injuries were piling up. He was getting ready to retire, and The Rock, the other cornerstone, wasn't really around because he was starting to film movies. He was starting his acting career.
So basically he just went to Hollywood.
Yeah, and that is another kind of out with the old, in with the next in this case. And that's where you had the Ruthless Aggression era starting in sometime in 01-02. That pretty much went up until about 2007, and that pretty much ended with the Chris Benoit thing. As he was kind of the face of that time frame. It was pretty much Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and that was where you started to see the rise of Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, and those are names that, I mean, the case of the latter three are still with us today. Yeah. So they've stuck around, but they're going to be. We're, I think, in the process of making into an out with the next and in with the next, for lack of a better term. Because I don't even know what it's going to be necessarily, and I think WWE, they're still trying to figure that out as well. I don't know. I mean, that's where we're at currently here, and even with the current, there's a lot of experience in that current. I mean, Daniel Bryan, he's in his late 30s. Brock Lesnar, he's the Universal Champion. He's he'll be 42 later this year. So there's certainly a lot of that going on. But we'll delve more into that. On the other side, we're also going to get into what could be the certainly new and certainly new and exciting outside of WWE. We're going to talk a little All Elite Wrestling on the other side, as there was a big to-do with that. But for now, we're going to take care of our first time out here. We'll get to Ed from Northeast Philly on the other side. And we've got room for you as well. 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Lee Piccarello, inviting you to tune in every Friday morning at 8 a.m. to The Head Game, a must-listen show for athletes and coaches of all levels and ages. Mindful Athlete Training in Newtown, Pennsylvania is a mental circuit training program that prepares the athletes to perform at the highest level of today's game. Athletes get into the zone faster and stay there longer. Tune in every Friday morning at 8 a.m. right here on WBCB 1490 AM and throughout the world at WBCB1490.com.
Chickies and Pete's, proud partner of the Philadelphia Eagles and your favorite local sports bar, has you covered this weekend for football playoffs and the Eagles playoff showdown with the Saints. The home crowd will be at Chickies and Pete's. Catch all the action like nowhere else and enjoy ice-cold draft beer and craft beer and all your Chickies food favorites. Playoff football and world-famous crab fries. Nothing comes close. Official caterer of the Philadelphia Eagles Touchdown Club and a proud partner. ChickiesandPete's.com for locations and details.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
See, he's got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so he might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, and filling in for Twitch is Mitch.
Yeah, I'm back from the commercial and back in action.
You most certainly are. I don't know why that struck me funny. All right, let's get back to the phones here. We've got Ed, who's been patiently waiting for Northeast Philly. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Good afternoon. We have a big convention coming up. The big event 16 on March 9th.
Guys, they're up to 16 of those already. My goodness.
Yes. They have Al Snow, Jesse the Body Ventura, just added, Randy Couture, the Wild Samoans, Billy Jack Haynes, Jasmine St. Clair, Mercedes Martinez.
That's all. It's all coming up. Golly, just March 9th. That's only about 8 weeks away, over in East Elmhurst, New York, at the LaGuardia Plaza Hotel.
And the Godwins are just added too.
Oh man, yeah. I'm
And
I'm looking here. There's quite a bit here. Ted DiBiase and Virgil, apparently for real this time, as opposed to just Virgil. Chavo Jr., the Godwins, Big Vito, Afa and Sika, the Wild Samoans, Billy Jack Haynes, Too Cold Scorpio, the Glamour Girls. Oh wow! Also Jimmy Yang, Marty Jannetty. Wow, that should be a lot of fun coming up on March 9th.
And I think you mentioned Chavo too.
Yes.
Chavo, yeah, I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, Chavo Jr.'s part of the mix.
And they, like I said, Jesse Ventura.
Oh yeah, and of course, I mean the headliners they have here, the featured guests. They have Layla L. They've got Randy Couture, Jesse the Body Ventura, Al Snow.
That's going to be a good one.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when Jesse is involved.
I'm hesitant to see. I mean, knowing that Jesse is one of those who has gone from wrestling to politics.
Yeah.
Not that we're about to go anywhere near that here on this show, and I am absolutely declaring that as a disclaimer to start right off here, so that way I can keep my A double crooked letter out of trouble here. But I'm sure that he is going to be very opinionated with things that are currently going on in the political landscape, which is nothing new for Jesse Ventura if you've heard him really over the course of the past 2 decades. I don't think that's stepping too far off of the tightrope to say that. Jesse Ventura opinionated about politics over the last 20 years. In other news, water is wet.
Any ECPW in Britain, New Jersey on February 16th. They have Robbie E. and Tito Santana.
Oh, very nice.
Like I said, Braun Strowman is an I Play America January 20th, 12 to 3 p.m. in Freehold.
Oh, that's right. I know that. They're kind of around the area here for a little bit here. So yeah, Braun Strowman over at. I keep saying it. I've checked out just online the iPlay America, and I mean, granted, Freehold's probably about a half-hour drive from here in good old Levittown, but it would be worth the trip there, I'm sure. I mean, iPlay America is interesting enough as on its own, and then the added attraction of Braun Strowman as well.
I'm going to get his hands.
I don't think I want to get those hands, no.
January 26th, Impact and PPW is going to have a joint show at the Holy Family Academy in Hazeltown.
I feel like I say this quite a bit here, but that's what's great about this area. I mean, within even an hour's drive, there's just so much in the professional wrestling landscape that is available. Just, I mean, whether it's in Delaware, whether it's in New Jersey, whether it's here in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, whether it's up in New York City and that area, there's just so much that's available on any given weekend.
And also that Super Fight is shaping up to be a good card.
Yeah, the MLW Super Fight. We're 4 weeks away from that here. Or 3 weeks away, actually, even. Yeah, the 2nd. That's right. It's a Groundhog's Day event that I'm anticipating, based on the hype for it, will be worth repeating over and over again.
Yeah, I don't have the lineup in front of me. I think there's 3 title matches that I know of.
Well, I mean, we've got a couple of weeks to get into that, as I know next week will probably be a better time to delve into it, as I know 2 weeks from now we'll be all rumbled up for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Good lineup so far for that too.
Oh, absolutely. Or as I was going to say, as Vince McMahon once said in one of his promos, I'll have to get the clip for it in a week or two here, but the Royal Rumble. Nothing can go wrong when it's live, right?
Yeah. And Super Crazy Pro Wrestling comes to Northeast Philly at the Homestead Boys Club.
Okay, what date is that going on?
The 9th of February.
Okay, that's 4 weeks from now. A lot of stuff coming up here. It's a really good thing.
6 p.m. bell time.
That should be a goodie. And then I guess I can piggyback off of this here, since I was going to read it coming up in a little bit anyway here. But doors opening at 6 tonight for the MFPW, Monster Factory Pro Wrestling, going on at the world-famous Monster Factory at 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. I'll be down there doing the play-by-play commentary for that. You'll get to see Primal Fear taking on Wrecking Ball Legursky and Headbanger Mosh, former World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champion, and also the Monster Factory Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship being defended by Soriano against Hyena Hex. Plus, even though he did apologize that he had a family emergency to deal with at the moment, our own Twitch will be in action. He'll be taking on Royal Money, the self-professed King of Camden. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. We'll see. If Twitch isn't in next week, I think we'll know why. He'll still be recovering from Royal Money's.
I forgot he wasn't there.
The fact that you forgot is a little bit concerning, but that's it's become.
I forgot about the Summer Rain.
Well, Summer Rain, yeah, that's just wrapping up now. That's why I didn't want to necessarily. If I should have mentioned it perhaps at the top of the show, that Summer Rae's over at George's Cards and Collectibles. Yeah, as that wrapped up, that's actually wrapping up now. She was there from 10:30 until about 2 minutes ago.
That's about it.
Alrighty, yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. The big the birds and the aints down in Nolens tomorrow should be rather interesting, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes here when we talk about our good friends over in Bristol. You know the ones I'm talking about. But thanks so much for checking in, and we'll more than likely catch up with you next week.
All right. See you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ed. And I was going to say, phones, I guess maybe it's because of Mean Gene passing or who knows what else, but the phones are just lighting up here like a belated Christmas. Let's get on to Chaz, who's been hanging on here. Chaz, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Hey, how you guys doing? First-time listener.
Oh, glad to have you aboard. What's going on?
I was just calling to see if you guys could touch base on, as far as you know, of Chris Benoit ever getting into the Wrestling Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, that's always certainly an interesting one there, Chaz. I know that there were some rumored pictures that were, I guess, photoshopped up a couple of weeks ago, alleging an announcement that Benoit was going to be put in the WWE Hall of Fame, but those were debunked as false and made up by somebody. Whether it's going to happen, I don't know. I mean, time heals all wounds, even in professional wrestling. We never thought that we'd see Bret Hart and Vince McMahon in the same ring again. And 13 years after the whole Montreal episode, that finally happened. I guess with something like this, I mean, how much time is enough time to heal the wound of a double murder suicide? I mean, that's the long and the short of it here. Is there ever going to be enough time? And is there an ability to separate Chris Benoit, the wrestler, with Chris Benoit, the tortured soul outside of the ring, who had all of that head trauma and had everything that resulted of it?
I hear you.
So it's a delicate situation, and I mean that may be something where it may take WWE owner Vince McMahon either passing. I mean, he's not going to sell the company with the money that they're making, but it may take his passing before something like that even might be remotely considered. At least, but I mean, for all I know, there could be a change of heart and something could change next year, the year after. But there doesn't look to be anything in the immediate future regarding the induction of Chris Benoit, at least into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, no problem. Thanks so much for chiming in, Chaz. Good to hear from you. Hopefully we'll hear from you a little bit more down the road here. Wow, that's always a tightrope walk of a subject is one Chris Benoit. But
yeah, you got to be careful.
You do have to be careful with him, but I mean, it's and that's always the challenging thing. Was he a very accomplished technical wrestler? Absolutely. I mean, had he won numerous championships wherever he went? Most certainly. But the actions of the end of his life, that it's something that if it is to happen, that time will certainly have to. I don't know. Time will certainly have to run more than its course here before it's considered again. I mean, there was a lot of that with. We hear a similar debate with the now deceased Chyna, women's wrestler, who her reputation has taken a bit of a dip after the later years of her life. She ended up going legitimately into the adult entertainment field. So. WWE trying to be very family friendly now, whereas they weren't necessarily 20 years ago. I mean, it's a far cry from the late 90s and early 2000s where they had women's wrestlers who were featured on the cover of Playboy magazine, which I know is also a foreign concept at this point because that is pretty much falling by the wayside. But I mean, they've gone a far cry from that to now basically putting Chyna into minimal existence because of her checkered past. And then even those who they have in there currently, such as Tammy Sitch, otherwise known as Sunny. She was inducted into the Hall of Fame and now has been seldom mentioned because she has had a more checkered present when it comes to, or at least recent past, when it comes to both adult entertainment ventures as well as legal issues, having issues with the law, constant arrests and things of that nature. So I mean, it's when it comes to the WWE and the Hall of Fame, it's a very fickle situation, and it is ever fluctuating. So who knows? I mean, Hulk Hogan was just welcomed back after his whole thing, and that was a whole racial thing, and that took 3 years to heal that wound.
True.
So who knows? It's hard to say. One thing it isn't hard to say, though, is to talk about our good friends over at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Smooth segue.
I know.
Well, the Goblet is normally open until 5 on Sundays, but thanks to the Birds continuing their way in the playoffs here, they're going to be staying open late. They'll be open at noon and going until the end of the game between the Birds and the Aints, as they put it, as opposed to Saints. Get it? Yeah, I know, it's sport ball. I get it, but...
Yeah.
All right, yeah. More with the sports ball for you. You're stifling your laughter. I got it. And also, you can get some of that fresh beer in tribute to the Eagles. No One Likes Us, We Don't Care, to help root on some more of that postseason magic from last year and see if Nick Foles continues to live up to his not oft mentioned on the air name. And don't forget some of the other weekly features, including Sunday's Bloody Marys and Bloody Flights. So you might be able to start off the day a little bit with that. That actually sounds like a heck of a plan for me here. Go in there, get a Bloody Mary, and then just cruise right on into game time. And that's usually from noon to 5. If the supplies still last, they'll have them through the game as well. Tuesdays bring Jackbox.tv on the big screen and free to play from your cell phone. Wednesdays, you've got Quizzo from the Dark Side with bartender Reese. Thursdays, you have house musician Mike Estabrook, who has tunes and Estabingo, which gives you a chance at a quarterly jackpot. They actually just gave away the most recent quarter jackpot this past Thursday, so you can get in on the fresh one here. And also listen to some great music as well. A lot of great cover music from Mike Estabrook. Plus, he does some original stuff as well. Fridays, you've got live music from a variety of acts, and Saturdays are a hodgepodge of events, including tonight. You've got 3 different bands on stage throughout the course of the evening. Just a few reasons why it's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly. And we're going to come back and The phones pretty much dominated the second segment here, so we're going to get into all things all elite in the next segment. But we've also got room to talk to you as well. 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. Alongside Mitch, I'm Fearon Derry. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
At St. Mary Medical Center, they're on a mission to help you live your healthiest life. Learn more about their advanced technology and innovative procedures, as well as the small steps you can take to be your healthiest self. Meet their highly trained physicians and skilled professionals. Count on St. Mary for experience, brilliant technology, and the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness. St. Mary Healthline every Wednesday at 9 a.m. on 1490 WBCB.
The Army National Guard is offering up to a $20,000 enlistment bonus and other tuition benefits to qualified candidates, including new recruits and those with prior military service. Already received your education or are currently in school? You may be eligible for up to $50,000 in student loan repayment. Get the education you need to land the career you've always wanted. Learn more about the many benefits that come with serving part-time in the Army National Guard. Visit nationalguard.com today. Sponsored by the Pennsylvania National Guard, aired by the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Stand out in your career. Gwynedd Mercy University offers doctorate and master's degree programs in nursing and education, with certification options for experienced educators and counselors, plus MBA programs for business professionals, including a transportation leadership concentration, a unique program in the region developed with employer input. GMercyU students say, "I love the individual attention the program gives to each student." Advance with us. Visit gmercyu.com or text MERCY to 343-434.
It's 1930s Paris and just hours away from the concert of the century. But love affairs, bedroom hijinks, mistaken identities, and opening night chaos have producer Henry Saunders desperate to try just about anything for the show to go on. Get ready for Ken Ludwig's A Comedy of Tenors, an uproarious comedy filled with slamming doors, unbridled passion, and madcap hilarity on an operatic scale. Tickets at walnutstreettheater.org.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, January 12th. On this date in 1998, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Jacksonville, Florida. In the main event, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall defeated the Steiner Brothers to win the WCW World Tag Team Championship. On this date in 2004, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Uniondale, New York. In the main event, Randy Orton pinned Rob Van Dam to retain the Intercontinental Championship. On this date in 2009, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Sioux City, Iowa. In the main event, Shawn Michaels pinned John Cena. On this date in 2015, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from New Orleans, Louisiana. In the main event, Rusev defeated Dean Ambrose. This has been Today in Wrestling History, January 12th.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside Mitch.
Hello, yet again.
You say that as if you think you're going to be like shown the door. I mean, look at all of the screw-ups that Twitch has had over 5 years, and he, when he shows up, is still here.
I was containing my laughter for that.
No, that's good. But I mean, you don't have to. You can. The stifled laughter, the little titter, the tee-hee, that whole thing works. But you can. I mean, you can let the laughter hang out. You're okay with that. It's nobody is going to fault you for that in any way, shape, or form. That's what radio is. It's coming out of your shell a little bit here.
Ah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to behold. That is for sure. So a couple of other bits going all around the world of wrestling here, literally and figuratively. So according to Tokyo Sports, Kenny Omega, he's been a very popular name in the independent scenes here. He is leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. Omega telling the outlet that he's uncertain as to what his next move will be, saying, if I go to WWE, the fans there will be pleased. And the fans there will be pleased if I go to AEW. I want to be in a place where Kenny is going to be happy. Makes sense. He wants to make himself happy. He added that he is under contract through the end of the month and also said, quote, I do not know what will happen myself. So leaving a little mystery into the mix here. Omega making some additional comments that seemed like he was speaking somewhat in character as he spoke about losing the IWGP Heavyweight Championship to Hiroshi Tanahashi, saying, quote, there is no real place for me to fit, so it's best for me not to be in NJPW. I can't be there working under Tanahashi. I don't think he's surpassed me, don't think he's better. If we can, I want to face him again, but I need time away and not just from New Japan. So interesting to see where he is going to be heading. And some other Japan news. It was announced at a New Japan Pro Wrestling press conference that Kushida will be leaving the company at the end of his contract on January 31st, saying, quote, I am contracted with this company until the end of January, so I won't be talking much about beyond then. But it has been my dream for a long time to travel the world with professional wrestling, and that's what I will be doing. I increasingly took on the role lately of working with younger talent and while not teaching, learning together. Along with that, going back and forth between Ring of Honor and New Japan, I realize I am now 36 and have much less in front of me career-wise than behind. The struggle is real, Kushida. At 37, I'm feeling the same thing.
Maybe I'll feel the same thing at 37. Who knows?
You got a little while to get there.
Yeah, I got
pump your brakes.
You got a couple 10 or 20 years.
I'm doing the math on that. And,
it's
it hits me in the feels.
Oh,
son of a. All right. Also, Kota Ibushi will be taking off the next tour while recovering from the concussion he suffered during his Wrestle Kingdom 13 match with Will Ospreay. Injuries in the ring, they do happen. And also in talking retiring here, Takashi Iizuka is retiring and will have a retirement ceremony on February 21st. And before we get into the things AEW here, we've got Johnny on the line from Oak Tree. Johnny, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
How you doing, Fearon? What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on?
You know, same crap, different day. I got to touch base on a couple of different things here.
Sure.
I agree with Chaz. Benoit needs to be in the Hall of Fame, but the only issue I have with that, if he didn't kill his kids, he would have made it. If you do the wife and yourself, kind of like OJ did, he's still in. So I think people would forgive. But once you take out the kids, there's a problem.
Well, I did mention earlier it is a bit of a tightrope walk, that's for sure. And I don't know. I guess it's hard to. I mean, I know that in the legal system they have different degrees of murder necessarily, and that's one of those things where it goes into public light. And I mean, there is certainly a court of public opinion that goes into a lot of different things, a lot of different actions, and that's part of what kept, for example, Hulk Hogan out of the limelight for a few years following his scandal and everything, not just with that tape, but what was said on that tape, the racial responses and everything of that nature. So
yeah, that brings me to my second point when you brought up the racial response from Mr. Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's been a long time since we had an African-American champion in the WWE. I think last one was like Rock or something along those lines.
As far as a WWE champion?
Yeah, it's been a long time since we had one.
Yeah, I mean...
You know, could we push the point that maybe Vince McMahon might be slightly racist? Because it seems like everyone that comes up other than Rock, he pushes aside and makes them be like the vice president of a local union. He gets pushed down to that.
Well, I mean, they were solidly behind Bobby Lashley for quite a while, and I mean, he's back in the fold here at this current point here. I mean, they're certainly. I mean, yes, in terms of world championship status, there have been a lot of situations where it's been always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I can wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Whether it was Ron Simmons back in the 90s, I think he had one title shot wrestling as Farouk back in 97, to even Booker T, where he held the World Heavyweight Championship, the big gold belt from WCW, which he was more familiar, but never really got a sniff of the WWE Championship. And, I mean, even Mark Henry, to a degree, I mean, he was in the mix but never quite got there. It is a strong allegation to make, and while I'm not going to stick my neck out that far, I certainly do agree that when it comes to African-American competitors, that there certainly are, or not even just African-American, but other worldly competitors, that there is room for diversity when it comes to potential challengers for titles in wrestling as a whole.
I agree 100%. Now, my last point is, this is a little off topic. This is baseball related. Roger Clemens, Hall of Famer or no?
Well, I was going to say, usually when it comes to talking about The Rocket, I'm more thinking Owen Hart than Roger Clemens, but let's see what, man. I think,
steroids aside,
yeah, and that's the thing. Putting steroids aside, and given the early part of his career, which, I mean, it's hard to say what was going on with that. If you put the steroids aside, yes, I would say he's in. I mean, not that we're going to, we'll save that more for either the Bull Session or one of the other baseball shows that we have here on WBCB, as by no means am I any kind of an expert on the diamond. I mean, even our boss here, Ted Efall, could probably do a better job talking about that than I could. But just throwing the question out there, I would say, given his accolades, yes, but the steroids certainly make it a challenge. Anyway, thank you so much, Johnny, for chiming in here, and hopefully we'll hear from you sometime again here. All right, so I know it seems like every time I go to it here, it seems to be heading off, but AEW, All Elite Wrestling. There was a huge pep rally, essentially, that occurred in Jacksonville this past Tuesday as, well, the owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Shad and Tony Khan, they're backing this new organization. And the announcement officially came actually middle of last week on New Year's Day, that the promotion created by Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks is going to be funded by the Khan family. And Cody releasing a statement on that day saying, quote, "I feel so damn lucky. I believe that more than talent, more than chance, work ethic will guide me where I'd like to go. To be executive vice president for our new venture and to be flanked by Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks, and a few familiar names sharing that position, this is my dream job. I can't think of a time when so many of wrestling's top free agents all opted out of the road usually traveled and instead wanted to start something new. I'm excited to see AEW into an existence. What's old isn't new, what's new is new. Perception isn't reality, reality is reality, fans first." Pretty bold statement. And
Truly.
yeah, bold statement, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off.
I would actually like to see that.
Yeah, and as I said, there was a huge rally that had occurred in Jacksonville, not too far from the arena that SmackDown was being held for WWE. So a little bit of kind of firing the first shot across the nose, essentially. And it led to a controversy/non-controversy as fans who had entered the Jacksonville Veterans Memorial Arena for SmackDown, well, those who were wearing AEW t-shirts, there was a bit of a supposed controversy. Reports indicating that security was refusing entry for those wearing AEW gear.
You serious?
I'm serious.
Oh, dear.
Other reports said that the only issue was with a group of rowdy AEW fans causing problems and security asking them to calm down, which escalated to them being asked to leave. So it's kind of whose story is the right story. You know, there's three sides of the story. One person's side, the other side, and then the truth, which is somewhere in the middle. An emphatic nod from Ted in the back here. And WWE had stated there was no directive for security banning people from the building who were wearing AEW merchandise. However, there was video that surfaced on Twitter where security told two fans who happened to be ProWrestlingTees.com employees, makers of the AEW gear, that they were initially not allowing people to enter the building in AEW merchandise. They later tried to returned later to try again, and the same security guard said something had changed and they'd be allowed inside the building to enjoy the show, and here is that little bit of footage.
They let people in with the shirts.
What's that?
They let people in with the shirts.
I was asking this. I'm the guy who got thrown out earlier for wearing the AEW shirt.
They let them now they're allowing it now.
Now they're allowing it. They weren't before?
Yeah.
So I had to go do all that for no reason?
Unfortunately. Basically. And I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay, man. I appreciate it. I wanted to get clarification.
Yeah.
Thanks. tweet it to WWE. I contacted them for a quote and find out what's going on. So, thanks.
Yeah, tweet it to WWE, apparently. So I guess they're saying one thing, but something else is apparently going on. Who to believe? We'll leave that to you to decide. But the rally was nice. They had pyro on stage, appearances from SCU's Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, and Scorpio Sky, who said they became one of the most popular trios in wrestling in 2018. And to follow it up, they're officially a part of All Elite Wrestling. And Cody was then introduced as the executive vice president, to where some fans chanted, "Dusty's proud," to which Cody responded, "I hope he is," right? Referring to Cody's late father, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, following in his father's footsteps in making a landmark in professional wrestling, if you will. Yeah, even Ted's on board with that one. He he goes back to the American Dream days, absolutely. But he said that "change the world" is a saying of his crew, the Elite, and that that he reemphasized that they're going to have to keep the fire going that started in All In, the independently started pay-per-view that they held back in September that brought in 10,000 fans into an arena, the first independent show to do so in the United States, and that they were putting words down on the new chapter and new book that is AEW. He said, "We're going to change the wrestling economy," noting that pro wrestlers are always the least paid, but at All Elite Wrestling that's going to change. He said, "You can offer someone an opportunity, but opportunity doesn't pay the bills." And also added that fans come first, wins and losses will matter in AEW like they have never mattered before, and fans won't be coached on how to be fans. They won't be asked to cheer or boo certain people. So they're saying all the right things. That's certainly a good thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And they also announced that they will be running Double or Nothing. It's going to be their next pay-per-view venture, and it's going to be on Saturday, May 25th in Las Vegas at the MGM Garden Arena. I'll just see if I can get credentialed to get out there for that. Pro Wrestling Weekly live from Vegas? No, that could cause more trouble than it's worth. Ted will be hovering over the dump button like a game show buzzer, just waiting almost. And there were also some surprise appearances by Pac, formerly known as Neville, and Chris Jericho, both of whom were assigned to the AEW roster. So we have about 3 minutes left. So it's time for
birthdays.
Knocked it out of the park. Twitch who? All right.
Man, kind of feels empty without Twitch here to banter.
Well, not really, because usually his banter was empty. So, bump. All right, we've got 1 plus 5 Brucey bonuses. Not much in wrestling, but a lot out. On this date in 1959, Brian Leslie Blair was born, the former WWF and AWA wrestler, best known as one half of the 80s tag team The Killer Bees. B. Brian Blair turns 60 today. Now to the Brucey bonuses, stuff outside of the world of wrestling. On this date in 1951, Kirstie Alley was born, the Emmy Award-winning actress best known for her role in the hit sitcom Cheers. She turns 68 today. This one's up Ted's alley. On this date in 1952, Ricky Van Shelton was born. There he is. Yeah, the country music star with hits including Somebody Lied, Life Turned Her That Way, and Living Proof, among many others, turned 67 today. On this date in 1954, Howard Allen Stern was born. The longtime controversial radio and television personality turned 65 today. Hoo-hoo, Robin, indeed. On this date in 1960, Jacques Dominique Wilkins was born. The Hall of Fame NBA basketball player primarily for the Atlanta Hawks turns 59 today. And on this date in 1964, Jeffrey Preston Jorgensen was born. Who? The technology entrepreneur and, according to Forbes, the richest man in modern history, better known as owner of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, turns 55 today.
Won't be that rich much longer.
Well, I mean, when...
Divorce?
True. But even still, what's 55 million among friends, or 55 billion? Excuse me. Yeah, I'm getting my. Yeah, exactly. He's worth over $100 billion with a B. I know. Where's Austin when we need him for that, or Dr. Evil, or something like that? I don't know. $100 billion. Anyway, that's going to do it for us here this week. Coming up, Ted Efaw's got Margot Smith as the Country Roads Memories Spotlight Artist. Stick around for that here. It's always a blast to hear the Country Roads. Country music the way it used to be, the way it ought to be. So, Mitch, until next week, thank you all for tuning in, and play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WB.